On a doctor appointment in 2007, 14 years of age, where I was classified as low body fat. Today is Thursday, 2 October 2025, and here I, Tanis Coralee of Seattle, recap and reflect on a doctor-physician appointment in 2007 when I was 14 years of age, where I was weighed in at 109 pounds, assessed a low end of healthy BMI of 18.6, had normal blood pressure, had normal menstruation, and was classified as having low body fat. However, at no point was my body fat measured. My doctor physician followed up with having me gain 23 pounds to correct for my low body fat. The physical and follow-up was in relation to me going on a youth mission trip to Mexico with my church. So this is part of kind of like my ongoing international travel with medical restrictions. So in the summer of 2007, I went to Mexico on a mission trip where I helped build various things. And part of our going on the mission trip was we had to go in for a physical and get we're in good health enough to go. So that was a medical restriction on our international travel because I was living in the Seattle area at the time. And I went in and they were like, I had all this stuff. And I remember she saying that you have low body fat, but she didn't actually, there was no step on the scale and let me measure your body fat with electronic little nodes or whatever, probes. There was no calipers, there was nothing like that. So it was the person's own subjective judgment, and it was inconsistent with I had normal menstruation, I had a healthy weight, I had a healthy BMI specifically, and so perhaps I should start off by noting that yes, the physician herself was overweight and high body fat. So yes, this is a straightforward case of abuse of a minor by a doctor through a medical system. And so I've returned to this for that, but I've also returned to it for my low blood pressure journey because I had healthy, normal blood pressure, and then I was coerced to gain 23 pounds of weight, which actually, for my height, actually started to put me towards the overweight. I was very close to being overweight by the end because it was she was overweight, over fat. It was she herself was not healthy. So it was an interesting one because I gained a bunch of weight, over 20 pounds, to be in compliance with the doctor's wish, even though it was not healthy. Right? She herself was not healthy and her wish was not healthy. And so I did 2009, and I've covered this previously, I fainted while I was at swim practice one day. And one of the things they said it might have been was low blood pressure. And so how did I go from lower weight and stuff like that and normal blood pressure to a little bit heavier and low blood pressure? And so it's something that's kind of been going on is I haven't returned to a lean physique or really low body fat. It didn't ever, having low body fat didn't ever, supposedly, right, since it wasn't ever measured, it didn't screw with my menstrual cycle, which they say low body fat cuts off a person's menstruation. I'm I have not ever experienced that. So, but point being is, it does not correlate with low blood pressure for me. If anything, my high body fat correlates with low blood pressure. And me actually, yeah. So that's been kind of an interesting one. A legacy of that appointment is just because I was, 18.6 BMI, which I haven't been back to since. It doesn't mean that being healthier in terms of lower weight, it doesn't correlate, for at least for me in my history, with lower blood pressure. So she was pure white bread. Doctor, I am mixed Native American, and European ancestral origins. So there's a little bit of legacy of the appointment in terms of race/ethnicity of my doctors is I have not had a pure white bread like her doctor this decade. Yes, there's not only was it abuse of a minor, there's it very could have been much racism and just kind of racial hatred of me, and me being especially Duwamish, right? She was on my land, and so she's kind of like, you're gonna look like I want you to look like, you're not gonna be healthy, I'm gonna like make you sick. And so she just abused the system as much as she could. And the legacy of the appointment for my self-confidence, well, I lost my sleepwalking mode virginity at that weight and BMI to my Attila Salai. So while an overweight woman did not accept my being healthy, my Hungarian man sure did. He loved me good. Maybe she was just going through a sexual activity drought. Maybe she would be a healthy weight if she had sex. Yeah, so I'm like, you know, she abused me and really and was sustained for multiple months, right? I just couldn't let go, so I made sure to switch doctors, not a white doctor, you know, that kind of stuff, right? That kind of like, maybe she was stuck in a colonizer complex, or maybe she was just really bad in bed and her guy made her pay for it. You know, like everybody has their own, like, because I was Native American, she was like, I'm going to just take it out on you because you can't do anything because there's so few of you, right? There are people who are just horrific, horrible, ugly human beings because they haven't gotten laid. Maybe that was her. So I found a doctor appointment in 2007, 14 years of age, where I was classified as low body fat, and they didn't even measure it.